My son said I was too old, too slow and too much of a burden. So, he put me in a nursing home without my consent and moved into my house like I was already dead. But I wasn't confused. I wasn't finished. And while he thought I'd fade away quietly, I was planning something else. Something he'd feel every time he opened his front door. This is how I made him regret the day he ever underestimated his mother. I raised my son with hands that bled and a heart that never stopped stretching. Jason was all I had after my husband passed. I scrubbed floors until my knees cracked. I skipped meals when money got tight. I pawned my wedding band to buy his graduation suit. And I never once asked for thanks. I just thought love would come back around when it mattered. When I fainted in the kitchen that Tuesday morning, I didn't think much of it. Probably blood sugar. I was standing too long on an empty stomach. Jason rushed over that evening with his wife Danielle acting all concerned. "Mama, we just want what's best for you," he said while Danielle nodded like she rehearsed it. They offered to help me settle my affairs. That was the phrase Jason used like I was already halfway gone. They brought over soup, asked me about old documents, and kept telling me how hard it must be to keep up a house at your age. I didn't know that behind my back they'd already spoken to a lawyer. I didn't know they were whispering to neighbors that I was slipping mentally. I didn't know Danielle had already started changing the locks. A week later, they invited me out to lunch, said it was just the three of us. "You need a break." Jason smiled. "We're going to spoil you." I didn't pack a bag. I didn't bring my phone charger. I didn't even wear my good shoes. They dropped me off at a place with beige walls and plastic flowers in the hallway. "Just for a few days," Jason said. "Rest up. The nurse will help you get settled." Then he hugged me tight like he meant it. Danielle kissed my cheek, her lip gloss cold on my skin, and then they walked out the door and never came back. The room had no family photos, no calendar, no books, just a single dresser and a bed I didn't choose. I asked the nurse for a phone to call my son. She said, "You'll have to wait until visiting hours." I said, "He just left." She looked confused. Then she showed me a form, my name, his signature boxes checked, medical consent, residential admission, observation status. He'd committed me. I sat on the edge of that unfamiliar bed with my hands folded like I was in church, staring at the floor, trying not to shake, but I shook anyway. The next morning, I asked the front desk if I could speak with the administrator. I told her there must have been a mistake. I wasn't senile. I wasn't dying. She looked at me like I was a ghost asking to come back. "Your son said you're not safe on your own. Said you had confusion spells. We were told to expect long-term placement." I wanted to scream, but I didn't because deep down something told me screaming would only prove them right. So, I waited. I waited in that little room for 3 days. On the 4th day, I finally got access to a phone. I called Jason straight to voicemail. I called again and again. Then I tried Danielle once, then blocked. Block. The same woman who used to cry in my kitchen about how hard marriage was had blocked me. I sat in that stiff back chair looking out the window at a courtyard full of people who barely remembered their names. Some drooled. Some yelled at the air. Some just stared into nothing, and I thought, is this how I end after everything I gave? After everything I held back to make sure he had a future? No. That night, I asked the night nurse for a pen and a notebook. I told her I liked to journal. She smiled kindly and brought me a little spiral one from the activities closet. I didn't write poetry. I didn't write prayers. I wrote facts, dates, transactions, account numbers, people I remembered, deeds I still owned, contacts I had. My lawyer, Monica Reeves, who hadn't heard from me in 2 years, but never took me off her client list. I wrote everything down like it was a battle plan as it was. I wasn't confused. I wasn't delusional, and I damn sure wasn't dead. They thought I wouldn't notice the bank account freeze. They thought I wouldn't recognize that my name was missing from my own utility bills. They thought that just because I was old, I couldn't fight. But I raised a man. I survived a marriage. I survived breast cancer. No, I was going to survive this too. But I wouldn't just survive. I'd return, and when I did, I wouldn't ask for my keys back. I'd sell the whole damn house and buy the one next door, just to watch Jason's face every morning. He stepped outside thinking he won, because sometimes the quietest woman in the room is just waiting for her moment, and mine was coming. Monica Reeves didn't answer the phone the first time I called. Can't say I blamed her. It had been years, but I left a message, short, sharp, and deliberate. "Monica, this is Dolores Mayfield. I believe my son has committed fraud using my name and placed me in a facility against my will. I still have access to the joint account and legal documents. Call me." She returned my call before lunch the next day. "Mrs. Mayfield," she said, sounding startled. "Are you safe? As safe as a woman can be when her only child locks her away and thinks she won't bite back." She paused. Tell me everything, so I did. He came to see me that Friday, drove 3 hours in the rain, marched through the front doors of the facility, and told the nurse she was my attorney. The staff got nervous, real nervous. I could tell by the way the manager pulled her aside, and tried to explain how they acted in the client's best interest. Monica wasn't having it. She came into my room with a briefcase and a fire in her eyes. You're not staying here another week, she said. And if they give us trouble, we sue them, too. It felt like the first deep breath I'd taken in weeks. We went over everything. The documents Jason had forged, the power of attorney I never signed, the deed to the house that still listed my name and only mine, the joint account Jason thought I'd forgotten about. I had never removed him. But he didn't know I still had access. I'd been quiet for too long. You want to go nuclear? Monica asked. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, no, I want to go biblical. He grinned. Let's start with a revocation. You're still mentally competent. You still have your rights. First thing we do is strip him of every bit of legal control he thinks he has. Within days, Monica filed an emergency motion to revoke the forged POA. We submitted a capacity evaluation from the facility's own doctor, who had told me privately he saw no signs of dementia. We opened a case against Jason for elder exploitation and misrepresentation of legal documents. And we froze the account he used to pay his fancy mortgage. I left the nursing home on a Wednesday afternoon. No goodbyes, no farewell hugs, just a bag of clothes Monica bought for me and a slow walk out the front door. Freedom never smelled so sweet. We didn't go back to my house. I didn't want to. Monica booked us into a private suite at an extended stay for the weekend while we worked out the next step. Jason didn't know I was out yet, but oh, he would. That weekend, Monica filed a petition to enforce a partition sale of the property. Since Jason was living in a home he didn't legally own, and I had not given consent for him to stay, we had every right to force a sale. If he refused to vacate, we'd go through the courts and law enforcement would remove him. And because I was still the legal owner, every dime would come to me. I pictured him and Danielle sitting on my velvet couch, sipping wine they couldn't afford, bragging about how they inherited a house from a confused old lady. They didn't inherit anything. They stole it and now they were going to choke on it. The process took about a week to move through preliminary hearings. We served them the paperwork at 7:00 a.m. on a Tuesday. According to Monica's private process server, Jason turned ghost white and slammed the door. I didn't need to witness it. Knowing was enough. That evening my phone buzzed. It was a number I didn't recognize. I let it ring, then it rang again. Then again I finally answered. Mom. Jason's voice was low, almost childlike. We got something in the mail today. Is this real? I didn't respond. He continued. You can't be serious. You're going to kick me out of my own house. I took a breath and said, you mean the house you threw me out of? He went silent. I never signed the documents. I continued. You forged my name, froze my accounts and tried to erase me. That's not what happened. I was left in a nursing home with no warning and no clothes. I was lied to, manipulated, and legally violated. So, yes, Jason, I'm serious. Mom listened. Danielle thought. I don't care what Danielle thought. You're the one I raised. And you let her put me in a box before I was even buried. His voice shook. You're really going through with this? Yes, I said. And you have 30 days to get out. I hung up before he could respond. That night I slept better than I had in months. Monica and I drank sparkling cider out of paper cups and watched old game shows in our hotel room. It wasn't glamorous, but was mine, my choice, my moment. The next morning, we met with the buyer, a young black couple, newly married, looking for their first home. They loved the garden, loved the arched hallway, loved the soul of the place. I think it wants to be filled with love again, the wife said, running her hand along the kitchen counter. I nodded. It does. I accepted their full cash offer by the end of the day. We closed in less than 2 weeks. Jason didn't say a word, but Danielle did. He sent me a message on Facebook. The goal, we're your family. I can't believe you're doing this. This was our future. I stared at it for a long moment, then typed one sentence back. No, I was your past. And you buried me too early. Then I blocked her. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just breathed and waited for moving day because I had one more step left in this plan. And I was saving the best for last. The last time I walked through my old house, it was nearly empty. Just dust shadows on the floor where my furniture used to sit and a faint scent of lavender from the oil diffuser Danielle insisted on using in every room, the kind that always gave me a headache. They were gone. Jason didn't fight the court, ordered sale. He didn't even show up for the final inspection. Danielle left a box of half-used lotions and a note taped to the fridge that said, "You'll regret this." But I didn't regret a thing. The sale went through clean and legal. The young couple was thrilled. They called it their dream home. I shook their hands at closing and wished them well. And just like that, the house I once scrubbed clean with my bare hands, the home I gave up everything to preserve, now belonged to someone who would respect it. With the money from the sale wired into my account, Monica asked the big question. Ready for step 2? I smiled. Oh, I've been waiting for step 2. We didn't rush. That's the trick. Revenge shouldn't come hot. It should come cool, deliberate, patient. We waited for Jason and Danielle to finish moving out. We waited for the neighborhood gossip to die down. And then I did something they never saw coming. I bought the house next door, cozy one-story with a rose bush out front and a back porch that faced their kitchen window. Who's perfect? I paid in full, no mortgage. Monica did the paperwork. I signed with a pen that shook a little in my hand. Not from weakness, but from the sheer satisfaction of what I was about to do. I didn't even tell Tyler, my grandson. Not yet. I needed this moment to be mine first. The first day I moved in, I wore my best Sunday hat and sat on the front steps with a cup of sweet tea. Just sat, coming the world past like any ordinary grandmother. And then Jason stepped outside. He was wearing gym shorts and a wrinkled t-shirt, holding a trash bag in one hand and a phone in the other. He looked tired, the way a man looks when he realizes the comfort around him was never really his. He froze when he saw me. I smiled. He turned around and went right back inside. I didn't move. I had waited too long for this view. 4 days after that, Danielle avoided eye contact. She pulled their curtains tighter. She parked on the opposite side of the driveway. The audacity of what I'd done was too much for her pride to process. But I wasn't done. I started planting roses along the